Hi everybody. Welcome to Jasmin's Mobile Foot Care Clinic. I'm Jasmin and I'm the owner of the business. And today I will walk you around my clinic and we will build a classified balance sheet together and learn a little bit about what makes up a classified balance sheet and how it is what I owe, what I own, and owner's equity at one point in time. So let's get started. So when it comes to building a classified balance sheet, we start with assets and we break it down into current assets. Of course, there's cash. Cash is money my business has available to pay expenses and keep the clinic operating. And next, there is account receivable. Sometimes I provide foot care services before receiving payment. These are amounts that my clients still owe me, and I trust them to pay me in a timely manner, which is about 1 to 2 months. And supplies. I have my supplies here. I've got my sterile equipment. Those are the sterile tools I use. My personal protective equipment, which is gloves, masks, and I have my sanding tools that go into the micro sander, creams, alcohol for sanitizing, eye gear, and of course I use a pen and paper to jot down some notes, and I have my disposable gloves that I have to buy and disposable mask that I have to buy on a regular basis. So that makes up some of my medical supplies. I also have prepaid insurance. I do have insurance for this type of business, just in case anything is to go wrong. And my prepaid insurance is paid in advance, so it would be part of the current assets. And these 4 make up my current assets, all to be used within the year. And then we go down and look at long-term assets, which is my long-term investments that I have put into the business. And next we will look at property, plant, and equipment. So I have my company vehicle and I took out a loan to pay for it, and I make payments on it. The payment that I will be paying within the year will be part of a current liability, and the payments that will be made to my company vehicle after 1 year will be made to long-term liabilities. And we will get into that in just a moment here. I need my company vehicle because it does allow me to travel to my clients' homes. Not every client is able to come to mine. So I made my clinic a mobile clinic, which is very handy for the elderly. And then we come and we can see that I've got a foot care chair and a stool, so I can have my clients be comfortable during their treatments. And then I have my foot care machine that I had to purchase. And I will show you how that works. Under the category of property, plant, and equipment, my micro sander machine is the most valuable. It allows me to use the sander to sand off fungus, warts, callus, and I will show you how that works. Here is the sand bit, and I will show you over here. I will put it onto the attach it to the bottom there. And I'll just show you how it works. I love this machine. Because this asset will last for many years, it will gradually lose its value through depreciation. And accumulated depreciation, microsander, was a contra asset. And that will be in the property, plant, and equipment as well, right next to the microsand machine. And we can go over what goodwill is. Goodwill is an intangible asset. However, it is part of my assets because I have a good reputation with my clients, and that is valuable. So if I was to sell my clinic, it would have a good reputation, which has value, although it is intangible. Now we can take a look at current liabilities. These are debts that my business must pay within 1 year. The first is accounts payable, and that is the current portion of notes payable with my vehicle loan, because it is due within 1 year. And then when we move on to long-term liabilities, notes payable, the remaining loan to my vehicle due after 1 year. And that's how we categorize that. So any kind of payable could be my business credit card that I use to purchase any kind of supplies, but must pay later, would be also under a current liability. And long-term liabilities would be if I took out a loan to buy something more expensive and I would be able to pay it after 1 year, would fall under a long-term liability. And last but not least is owner's equity, which is capital, my capital, which is the money I invested when I started my clinic. The money I invested into taking the course, into purchasing the supplies and equipment, and company vehicle. That is all the capital that I invested into the company. And of course, a classified balance sheet is a 1 point in time. So it would be the assets and liabilities that you own and owe at 1 point in time. And remember, assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. Always, always, always. And when I do go drive around to people's houses, I take this handy little cart here. And I did have to also buy that when I started up my business. And in conclusion, I hope you have learned a bit of a classified balance sheet. We started with current assets, then looked at my long-term assets, including both my equipment and goodwill, followed by current liabilities, long-term liabilities, and finally, owner's equity. Together, these sections provide a financial snapshot of my business at 1 point in time. They show what my business owes, and the owner's investment in the business. Thank you for visiting Jasmin's Mobile Foot Care Clinic. I hope you got to learn a little bit and enjoyed my video. Thank you.